Hello, dear Homopedia family. Many believe the Spanish farmhouse is merely a collection of aesthetic tropes, arched doorways, wrought iron scrolling, and red tiles slapped onto a standard geometric box. This superficial mimicry fails to capture the soul of the architecture, treating a rich historical lineage as a costume to be worn rather than a method to be lived. The truth is far more primal and compelling. The Cortijo was a fortress against the elements, a machine for living designed to harvest cool air and repel the relentless sun. We dismantle the decorative facade to reveal a design language rooted in survival, where every thick wall and shaded corner serves a critical, unseen function. Contemporary replicas often reduce the Spanish farmhouse to a hollow stage set, stifling, dark, and acoustically jarring. Failing to manage the sun's intensity, these structures become oppressive traps rather than sanctuaries. Our approach restores the vernacular's structural logic, the cooling respite of internal courtyards, and the earthy, hygroscopic scent of lime plaster. This resolves the conflict between form and function, creating a home that truly breathes. To continue unearthing the blueprint of authentic living, follow our channel and join the conversation. We begin with the envelope, often misunderstood as a mere partition or canvas for paint. In the authentic farmhouse, the wall is the primary climate enmity engine. Modern stick framing creates a thermos effect that traps stale air, leading to a reliance on mechanical cooling that feels artificial and drying. We counter this by utilizing high thermal mass construction stone or thick masonry, which absorbs the day's heat and releases it slowly at night. This isn't just a structural decision. It introduces a sensory solidity, a profound silence that muffles the outside world and grounds the spirit in a way that drywall simply cannot achieve. The entrance presents a spatial friction between the public exterior and the private interior. A direct entry into the living space, common in modern open plans, destroys the sense of sanctuary and exposes the home to the elements. We resolve this by reinstating the zaguán, a transitional corridor that acts as a decompression chamber. This narrow, dimly lit passage compresses the visual field before releasing the inhabitant into the light of the courtyard or living room. It creates a psychological threshold, forcing the mind to slow down and leave the chaos of the outside world behind before truly entering the home. Consider the floor, not as a surface to walk on, but as a thermal regulator. Synthetic laminates or carpets trap dust and heat, creating a stifling atmosphere that disconnects us from the earth. The authentic pivot is the use of handmade terracotta or saltillo tiles. These porous clay-fired tiles remain cool to the touch even in high summer, acting as a natural heat sink. Visually, their variation in tone and slight imperfections tell the story of human hands, adding a layer of visual warmth that balances the coolness of their physical temperature, creating a tactile connection to the landscape. The ceiling often becomes a neglected plane, flattened by drywall and recessed lighting that feels clinical. This eliminates the vertical volume necessary for hot air to rise away from the living zone. We expose the structural logic through heavy timber beams and cane rendering. This is not merely cosmetic. The rhythm of the beams breaks up sound waves, reducing echo in stone-heavy rooms, while the height allows for air stratification. The visual weight of the wood provides a psychological shelter, a primal sense of protection that a flat white ceiling can never offer. Light is often treated as a binary, on or off, bright or dark. This leads to flat, overlit spaces that lack mystery or depth. The Spanish master builders understood light as a fluid substance to be manipulated. We resolve the harshness of direct sunlight by employing deep window reveals and splayed jambs. These thick walls act as light tunnels, softening the intense exterior glare into a diffused golden glow before it hits the interior. It transforms the blinding sun into a painterly illumination, protecting the eyes and preserving the cool shadows that define the mood of the room. The kitchen in a traditional farmhouse was a workspace, often separated to contain heat and odors, but modern life demands connection. The friction arises in balancing the rustic utility with luxury entertaining. We do not hide the function. Instead, we celebrate the hearth as the architectural anchor. By using a large-scale masonry hood and open shelving, we maintain the honesty of the working kitchen while elevating the material's honed marble against rough plaster. This resolves the conflict by turning utility into sculpture, allowing the mess of cooking to exist within a framework of beauty. A critical unseen hero is the plaster itself. Modern acrylic paints seal the walls, preventing moisture exchange and leading to a plastic feel. We exclusively utilize lime wash and natural lime plasters. These materials are breathable, absorbing excess humidity during the day and releasing it when the air is dry. This microscopic activity improves indoor air quality and creates a wall surface that interacts with light in a unique way, refracting rather than reflecting, giving the room a soft, velvety texture that feels alive and constantly changing with the time of day. The transition between indoor and outdoor spaces is often handled with sliding glass doors that feel flimsy and commercially produced. This disrupts the weight of the architecture. We solve this by using steel or heavy timber French doors that align with the thickness of the walls. The threshold must be substantial, a physical step or a change in material that acknowledges the passage. This maintains the integrity of the thermal envelope while allowing the home to expand into the landscape, blurring the lines without losing the feeling of enclosure and safety. Water is not just a utility. In the arid climate of the original Cortijo, it was life. Modern designs often relegate water to hidden pipes or swimming pools. We bring water back into the architectural narrative through the central fountain or wall trough. The sound of falling water cools the air through evaporative cooling and provides a white noise that masks external disturbances. This acoustic pivot transforms a courtyard or entry from a static space into a restorative oasis, engaging the ear as much as the eye. The roof overhang is an architectural device, often shortened in contemporary builds to save costs, resulting in walls that bake in the sun. We extend the eaves significantly, often with exposed rafter tails. This structural decision creates a permanent shadow line that protects the upper walls from solar gain and shields the facade from rain. The deep shadow cast by the overhang adds a layer of visual drama and gravity to the elevation, grounding the house visually while performing a critical passive cooling function. Furnishing these spaces creates a friction between the scale of the architecture and the scale of modern furniture. Delicate, spindly pieces get lost against thick walls and high ceilings. We resolve this by choosing furniture with substantial visual weight-solid wood tables, deep upholstery, and oversized artifacts. The scale must respond to the volume of the room. By anchoring the space with fewer, heavier pieces, we maintain the quiet of the design, avoiding the clutter that disrupts the serene minimalism of the farmhouse aesthetic. The color palette is frequently misunderstood as strictly white and red. This limitation ignores the rich history of earth pigments. We move beyond the stark bright white, which can be blinding, to warm off-whites, grays, and soft ochres derived from the local soil. By mixing natural pigments into the lime wash, the walls take on the character of the land itself. This atmospheric pivot ensures the home feels indigenous to its site, rather than an alien object placed upon it, fostering a deep biophilic connection. In the bedroom, the conflict is between the need for airflow and the need for privacy and darkness. We address this through the use of internal wooden shutters or contraventinas rather than fabric drapery alone. These solid shutters allow for total control of light and air, enabling the room to be completely darkened for sleep while still admitting a breeze if adjusted. This mechanical solution adds a layer of tactile interaction with the building, reinforcing the sense of security and enclosure. The fireplace is often reduced to a gas insert in a drywall box, stripping it of its primal power. We reclaim the fireplace as the structural heart of the living space, built from masonry and integrated into the wall itself. It is not an appliance. It is a cavity carved from the mass of the home. By giving the hearth true architectural presence, we create a focal point that draws people together, resolving the spatial drift of large rooms by providing a clear center of gravity. Corridors in modern homes are often dark, wasted tunnels. In the Spanish tradition, the corridor is a gallery, a cloister that borders the courtyard. We open these circulation spaces to the light using arches or colonnades. This resolves the friction of transit by making the journey from room to room a pleasurable experience. The corridor becomes a thermal buffer zone, moderating the temperature between the exterior courtyard and the interior chambers. Ironwork is a defining element, yet it is often used decoratively rather than functionally, appearing flimsy and cheap. We insist on hand-forged wrought iron for grills, railings, and hardware. The material must show the hammer marks of the artisan. This unseen hero provides necessary security for ground floor windows, allowing them to remain open at night for cooling. The visual weight of the black iron contrasts sharply with the pale walls, creating a graphic rhythm that defines the Spanish aesthetic without resorting to ornamentation. The bathroom often suffers from a clinical tiled exuberance that feels cold and echoing. We pivot towards a wet room concept using Tadelakt or continuous waterproof plaster surfaces. This eliminates the visual noise of grout lines and creates a monolithic, cave-like serenity. The seamless nature of the material wraps the bather in a warm, organic embrace, turning a functional hygiene space into a sensual retreat that mirrors the ancient hammams of the region's history. Landscaping is frequently treated as separate from architecture, a green border around the house. We integrate the garden into the floor plan. The patio is an outdoor room with walls, not just a lawn. We use drought-tolerant, architectural plantings like olive trees, agave, and rosemary close to the structure. These plants require little water and provide scent, shade, and texture that complement the masonry. This resolves the boundary between built and grown, making the house feel like it grew from the earth. Lighting fixtures in these homes often drift towards ornate chandeliers that feel dated. We resolve this aesthetic friction by utilizing minimalist, honest materials, terracotta pendants, simple iron sconces, or concealed architectural lighting. The goal is to illuminate the texture of the walls and the volume of the space, not to draw attention to the fixture itself. By keeping the light source discreet or primitive in form, we maintain the rustic integrity while providing modern levels of illumination. Storage is a practical necessity that often clutters the clean lines of a farmhouse. We solve this by building joinery into the thickness of the walls, nicho shelving, and recessed cabinets. Instead of protruding furniture, storage becomes a subtraction from the mass. This maintains the clear, uncluttered flow of the rooms and honors the historical method of carving utility out of the thick adobe or stone structure. The staircase is a moment of vertical drama. Often, it is hidden or treated as a wooden riser system. We treat the stair as a sculptural masonry element, often tiled with adorable nosing. The friction of vertical movement is eased by the tactile quality of a heavy, hand-carved handrail and the cooling touch of the tiled steps. This transforms a functional necessity into a sensory journey, grounding the ascent in the materiality of the home. A subtle but vital element is the skirting or baseboard. Standard wood moldings look out of place against undulating plaster. We often eliminate the baseboard entirely, using a shadow gap or a flush tile skirting. This unseen hero allows the wall to meet the floor cleanly, emphasizing the height and continuity of the plaster. It resolves the visual clutter of trim, reinforcing the minimalist, monastic quality that underpins the luxury of the space. Textiles play a crucial role in softening the hard surfaces of stone and plaster. The mistake is using shiny, synthetic fabrics. We pivot to raw linens, wools, and hessian. These natural fibers possess a tooth and texture that stands up to the roughness of the architecture. They absorb sound and soften the acoustics, resolving the potential coldness of the materials with a layer of organic warmth that feels casual yet sophisticated. Scent is an invisible architectural element. The authentic Cortijo is surrounded by aromatic herbs that ward off insects and perfume the air. We strategically place jasmine, lavender, or citrus near windows and intake vents. This atmospheric pivot ensures that when the evening breeze cools the house, it carries the scent of the landscape inside, engaging the olfactory sense to create a memory of place that is stronger than any visual cue. Finally, we embrace the concept of Wabi-sabi, or the beauty of imperfection. Modern construction strives for laser-level perfection, which feels sterile. We allow the walls to undulate, the beams to check and crack, and the tiles to chip. This is not laziness. It is a resolution to the anxiety of maintenance. By accepting that the house is a living organism that patinas with time, we create a home that ages gracefully, where wear and tear add character rather than detracting from value. The lasting impact of these design decisions is a home that functions as a sanctuary for the senses, not just a backdrop for life. By rejecting the temporary allure of trends and returning to the engineering roots of the Spanish farmhouse, we create spaces that are resilient, sustainable, and deeply comforting. The thick walls do not just hold up the roof, they hold silence. The lime plaster does not just cover the brick, it cleans the air. Every choice we make is a resolution to the friction between the harshness of the external world and the human need for shelter, proving that true luxury lies in the intelligent manipulation of natural forces. True architecture must resolve the conflict between fleeting trends and enduring comfort. The Spanish farmhouse answers this not with pristine visuals, but with the cool embrace of thick masonry and the scent of sun-cured timber. This is a discipline of the tactile, where material honesty acts as a living skin against the harsh elements. If this vision of soulful sensory design resonates, we invite you to like and subscribe. Join us as we champion spaces that do not merely shelter, but inspire a slower, deeper connection to the land.